What you open and expose yourself into are pathways. It goes both ways. You consume media related to philosophy, you talk about philosophy. You expose yourself to pop culture, you talk about pop culture. You have a desperate need to fit in, eventually, you'll do anything to fit in. Welcome to the 7 Dimensions of Wellness, the podcast that helps you reassess your habits and helps you progress. The 7 dimensions are as follows: spiritual, physical, emotional, career, intellectual, environmental, and social. Reassess, progress. This is the 7 Dimensions of Wellness. Welcome back to the Runaway podcast. This is the 7 Dimensions of Wellness. Tonight's dimension is environmental. This is all about understanding how your setting can affect your health and well-being. Before we continue with the episode, be sure to follow us on Spotify to gain more perspective about the weekly topic. Dealing with peer pressure. All right, here we go. So, why did I choose this topic? I really had a stressful week. Na-pressure ako mostly sa work-life balance ko. Like, there's this one time nung nag-calculate ako ng budget and expenses. I was a little bit short over the past 2 weeks. Pero thankfully, naging okay naman siya. Nabayaran ko mga kailangan dapat bayaran. And even though it was rough, I survive by repeating, hayaan mo na, mababawi ko to. Then again, I am challenged by this week sa mga gastos. Gastos and temptations, man. That's why we're gonna talk about peer pressure. We need to identify what's causing it, the effects of it, and what stops us from eliminating it. So let's cut to the question. Can it be eliminated? Yes. Yes, it can be eliminated, and kayang-kaya. Now, I want to bring this into perspective. Yung pressure na nararamdaman natin araw-araw, weekly, monthly, andyan na yan eh. Hindi siya nawawala. We can eliminate peer pressure by learning how to deal with our responses to peer pressure. Mag-focus tayo dun sa mga bagay na may control tayo at kaya nating i-improve. So, what are the baby steps? Ano yung mga kailangan kong gawin para mas ma-improve ko na yung pag-handle ko sa peer pressure? Para mawala na to. Let's try and understand what it is. Ano nga ba ang peer pressure? This is a feeling that one must do the same things as other people for them to be liked or respected. Well, this is such a common social issue, and by the time of this recording, a few more days, Stranger Things Season 4 Part 2 lalabas na. And from that season, it also talked about peer pressure as well, more specifically sa story arc ni Lucas, and it can be a good reference for you to know what is peer pressure all about. So let's bring this into perspective. I've learned and gathered that there are 6 types of peer pressure. So here's the first one. Spoken peer pressure. Ito yung niyayaya ka. Basically, like, uy, tara, let's go. Unspoken peer pressure. Ito naman yun kapag sinasama ka. Tara, punta tayo dito. Tingin ka lang, sama ka din sa akin. Direct peer pressure. Now, this is a combination between spoken and unspoken kasi dito, on the spot mo mararamdaman yung pressure. Think of it this way, para siyang on the spot decision making. Nandun ka na, niyaya ka na, ano gagawin mo? Indirect peer pressure. Ito naman, it's like a battle between your inner voice. Kasi may gusto kang itry na hindi mo pa nagagawa. Let's say, nandun ka sa isang lugar, specifically bar. And this is me. Okay, I'm speaking from experience. And this is one of the reasons why I quit alcohol. uh, I was in a bar one time. Niyaya ako ng friend ko. Okay? So, mama ako sa kanya. Indirect, direct. Binigyan niya ako ng alcohol. Tara, inom tayo. Red Doors, G. Let's go. On the spot decision making, should I say yes? Should I say no? Pero hindi ko pa kasi natatry uminom sa bar at the time. So, may gusto akong i-try. I gave in. So, that's indirect peer pressure. Like, I want to try something, pero hindi ko pa siya nasusubukan. That's a struggle between your inner voice. Negative peer pressure. Ito naman, of course, it's self-explanatory. It's a negative type of peer pressure where the outcome is, of course, negative. Negative yung magiging behavior and yung influence sa'yo ng pressure. On the other hand, there's this thing called positive peer pressure. I was already doing this. I was doing this whenever I had coaching sessions with my team before. I was doing this whenever I have pep talks with my friends. Para siyang accountability partners yung datingan. Pero bakit nga ba? Bakit nga ba nagkakaroon ng peer pressure in the first place? 'Di ba? So, taking reference from Stranger Things Season 4, Part 1, kay Lucas, there's a desperate need to fit in. Kasi all his life, Lucas was treated like a nerd, like an outcast, sila lang ni Dustin. Like, he wants to go on another path, basically. There's a desperate need to fit in. I experienced this. Maybe you have experienced this. So it's a social issue. Okay, hindi na to bago. Now, we understand what it is. Okay? So what would be the next baby step? Draw your boundaries. I know. We often do this figuratively, but I highly encourage you to do it literally. Do it. Why? Because there's a visual type of learner. Okay, may mga tao na mas naiintindihan nila ang isang bagay kapag nakikita nila. People can create a better understanding to a topic when they use visualization. So draw your boundaries. You know what? We can have like an activity on the live session this Friday. Just tell me. Okay, tell me. Draw a stick figure of yourself in a piece of paper and enclose it in a circle. Throwing ka. Okay? Tapos pilugan mo. Pencil gamitin mo. So ngayon, choose one category from the 7 dimensions of wellness. Now, don't worry. Okay? This is just our starting point. Ikaw bahala kung anong gusto mong categories. Kung gusto mong maging broad, specific, it's up to you. Okay? This is just a starting point. Make small openings to the things you say yes to. For example, with me, category ko is spirituality. That's what I really want to focus on. I say yes to meditation. I say yes to quiet time. I say yes to reading about philosophy. More specifically, Stoicism. Now, the last step is this. I want you to darken a few lines dun sa circle, and this will represent the things you say no to. Mga ayaw mo talaga. Yung mga ayaw mo for now. Okay, maybe it can possibly change in the future. So for me, no to drinking alcohol. Like, I know my demons. I know my limits. So yeah, I really have to say goodbye to alcoholism. Yeah. And I also say no to the crab mentality. I just feel like it's not helpful, especially these days. So I have to say no to that. That's why I'm bringing things into perspective and mediating. So draw your boundaries. Draw your boundaries for you to know your boundaries. Kasi think of it this way. The openings that you see on what you draw, if you draw it. Okay, don't worry. I'm gonna show this to the live session then. What you open and expose yourself into are pathways. It goes both ways. You consume media related to philosophy, you talk about philosophy. You expose yourself to pop culture, you talk about pop culture. You have a desperate need to fit in, eventually, you'll do anything to fit in. Be wary of what you expose yourself into. Mag-ingat ka. This includes your media consumption. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Be careful of what you expose yourself into, especially with the type of people you surround yourself with. Then again, please, there's no need to think ill of those people. There's no need to think ill of them na, baka mamaya, masama yan eh. Wag na. Ayoko na dyan. Ayoko na. No. Sama yan. Bad influence yan sa akin. BI. No, dude. Again, like, think of it this way. Nasa laro ka. Ikaw yung hero. Tapos, nagle-level up ka. As you level up, you equip yourself with what you think suits better for your character. This includes the best armor, best weapons, best items, lifesteal, attack damage. Ikaw bahala. Okay, like, it's totally up to you, man. It's your game, it's your hero, it's your playstyle. Now, those things that I've mentioned, yung armor, weapons, items, all of them have value and all of them have their usage. Kapag hindi mo naman sila ginamit, useless na sila. No, they still have value to it. It's just that it's not your thing. That's why there's no need to think ill about these people. There's no need to think ill about these topics. What's good for you may not be good for me. That's how you draw your boundary. Like, how much are you willing to tolerate? How much are you willing to sustain? How much are you willing to overcome? Because this is the third and last part for you to eliminate the pressure that you've been feeling from your peers, is for you to search your feelings. It's very different from listen, okay? It's very different from listen to your feelings. Listening can be immediately dismissed eh. Like, okay, sige, I'm pressured, pero kasama ko sila ngayon. Like, hawak ko na yung Yossi. Lahat sila nag-Yossi. Ano na? Game. Let's go. Kaya nga nang sinabi ni Darth Vader sa Empire Strikes Back kay Luke, search your feelings, Luke. You know it to be true. And it's been a while since I did a voice impression. Search your feelings. It's different. Okay? It's really, really different from listen to your feelings. So, paano ba? How do I search my feelings? Kasi it's really easy to say things, especially kapag nagbibigay ka ng advice. Ngayon, willing ka rin ba na i-guide sila sa process? Sit on your emotions. Sit on it. Puan mo. Puan mo yung mga nararamdaman mo. Allow yourself to feel how you feel. But, not to the point that you'll do harm. Okay? Wag naman dun sa ikakasama mo. Wag. Sit in a quiet room. Focus on how you feel. Isipin mo para ka nagme-meditate eh. Ngayon, habang nagme-meditate ka, you're finding inner peace, try to feel where is it coming from. Saan ba nanggagaling yung sakit? Sa ulo mo, sa shoulders mo, sa puso mo, saan? Okay, kung hindi mo man ma-identify kung saan nanggagaling, you can also ask these additional questions. Okay? Again, pretend like you're meditating. Ask these additional questions to yourself. Saan ba ako natatakot? At bakit ako natatakot? What do I want to happen? What actually happened? And what did I learn from that experience? And I know since you're meditating, you're trying to find out where is it coming from, you're trying to find inner peace, you're trying to relax yourself, this is the perfect time for you to journal. I have advocated this habit for a long time now sa Runaway podcast, and it really, really helps a lot. Okay? Write down these emotions. Write it all down and how you want to respond to them. Kasi when you answer those questions, yung limang yon, it opens a dialogue of understanding between you and your inner voice. This is how peer pressure can be eliminated. Understand what it is, narrow down the problem, identify how it affects you. You and I. It's another acronym, you and I. It's a conversation between you and your inner voice. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. That's it for season 2. I can't wait to surprise you with our wrap-up episode. I'll see you guys really, really soon. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye. And that's it for this episode. If you'd like to support the podcast, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Runaway Podcast. Subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast, Runaway with Runaway Podcast.